Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
Have you checked your SIM card lately? Have you noticed any warnings that say the SIM cards failed, their SIM cards uninstalled, their SIM card just is not working and we can't find it? Oh boy, the last few days, it's partly why I haven't been here. Crazy time trying to at least get another line of communication for this, for my phone to actually communicate to the world. And this very much ties into what I'm going to talk about, because you can find me and literally text me now. Yes, text me. It's a company. Text me at the company app. Text me. 206-426-9884. I also take calls. So if you want to shoot me a text, say, hey, I listen to your podcast. Tell me where you're from, and maybe I'll read your message, even if it's hate mail. I don't care. But shoot me a text at text me 206-426-9884. Alex Garrett Podcasting finally has a line of communication. And of course, if you don't have that, you could do an email. alexgnnyc@gmail.com. alexgnnyc@gmail.com. But let's stay connected, shall we? So why is this app relevant to the other well-known communications app, Zoom? Well, maybe after what I'm about to tell you, you should switch over to text me to have your conversations there. Maybe when I tell you that in December, according to the Washington Post, FBI agents unsealed documents that show Zoom's executive is in line and in contact with the Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party. What do I mean? I'm going to tell you right now. So this is an excerpt from the show, from the story from the Washington Post. Prosecutors said the China-based executive Xing Zhengjin worked as Zoom's primary liaison with Chinese law enforcement and intelligence service, sharing user information and terminating video calls at the Chinese government's request. At the Chinese government's request. This flew under everybody's radar, but now that we know, is it right and safe to use Zoom? The biggest conferencer that I know of out there is riddled with China. And China is telling its people, or telling that company, hey, can you just get rid of this video, or can you erase this user? We're being watched through Zoom now. And you know what scares me the most? One-to-one interactions on Zoom like I had with Radio Hope Mike Myers. That's cool. We've had United States government hearings. We've essentially had a virtual insurrection of the Capitol. We had the physical one on January 6th, which I hope people are held accountable for. But every day, very likely, in this pandemic, we've had a virtual insurrection of the Capitol hearings from our government because China is monitoring what we're doing. That should scare you as much as the images of them, those rioters ripping through the Capitol. That should really scare you. That we have a Zoom connect. China has a connect with Zoom that can let people terminate video, that can tell them what to do on Zoom with us or higher ups. Now, the precipice was a town hall article called "Is China's Spying on President Joe Biden's Zoom calls?" That story in itself, very disturbing. And just to know that Zoom is watching us. I gotta get you the article from Town Hall as well. It cites, does Matt Vespa actually, cites that the White House is using teleconference platform Zoom for unclassified government meetings, but lawmakers and experts warn the administration for Biden they are ignoring the national security risks of partnering with a platform linked to China's government. Xi probably having himself a great time watching Biden's, meetings. I pray to God not. I certainly hope not. I really hope that we are more secure than maybe we give this Biden administration credit for early on. But just to know that China has a hand in Zoom freaks me out. Does it freak you out? Text me. Text me right now if it freaks you out on Literal Text Me app. 206-426-9884. 206-426-9884. Text me your thoughts. Call me your thoughts. Leave a voicemail. I'll pick it up. If I don't literally pick it up when you call. But this is something we have to be eyes wide open about. Eyes wide open. It's just astounding. And not that China's linked to this, okay? That is what it is. But the underreporting of this, too, by anybody. I mean, yeah, it was in the Washington Post, but at that time, were we caring about what Zoom was being run by? Who was being run by? No. We were caring more about getting that next Zoom meeting than wondering who was running it. Think of it that way. But now that we have time to ingest this information, that federal prosecutors, that the FBI, that in a Brooklyn courthouse in December, documents were unsealed, showing Zoom's connection with the Chinese government. I want you to be on a different platform. I want you to be on a more secure platform at this point. It may not be the bells and whistles of a video call that you could turn into a YouTube video, but it might be more secure. Text Me app. Text Me is the app. And my number there is 206-426-9884. I could say that every minute, but I won't. But yeah, imagine that. That Zoom is riddled with China. There's something else I feel called to do. So I did another greeting with Garrett on the go today. Because I don't mean to talk like I know about what I'm talking about here. I may not know anything about what I'm talking about here. But I know from what I read that Zoom is linked to China. But I also realized something. Not knowing everything is not a bad thing, especially at 30. Adapting to what we are unsure of is necessary to grow. How do we become sure of something we're not sure of? Having those hard conversations, asking the right questions, being in the moment with whomever you're talking with, and just talking. Not assuming you know what you're talking about, not assuming they know what they're talking about, not assuming anything, except literally just asking a question. Hey, I'm unsure of this. What do we do? How many of you are hesitant every day to even ask, hey, I'm unsure. What can we do? How many of you are confident in yourselves to make, and confident in your own skin, really, to say, you know what, I'm not sure of that. I love Atlas. I love him holding the world. But when your world becomes shaky because you don't know something very important or very vital to that task of the day, it will rock your world. It will shake your world. It will, I wouldn't say make your world crumble, but it'll shake it. I'm unsure of how this SIM card became defective, but I knew I had to find a perfect line, and I found that with Text Me. I can't tell you how to do brain surgery or legal work or whatever. I'm unsure of all those things, but if I want to, I can ask the questions. We are so afraid, because the media makes us afraid, of asking questions. Why can't we question Anthony Fauci? Why can't we question why these lockdowns were so long? Why can't we ask the question, how can we move forward? That's my big question every single day. How can we move forward, not post-pandemic, we're not in this pandemic yet, but as the pandemic gets fought through vaccines, through the lowering of the curve, through the 1 to 2% now in New York City, or in the state, how do we find the courage to ask the right questions? Because we've got to. And I also implore you, because I see Texas on the screen, I implore you, if you're so ticked off that Texas is opening at 100%, freaking talk to people down there. Find a friend in a group. Find someone. Just say, hey, what's it like with the reopening about to happen? Stop. Let's not talk about messing with Texas. Let's talk about getting to know Texas. Let's stop with the whole, I don't know, and saying, yeah, I know because I asked the right questions. I know because I took care of myself. I know because I was sure enough to be unsure of anything that I was willing to explore and become more sure of what I'm talking about and what I've got to do. So we can adapt every day to that unsured reality we seem to be living in every day by just asking the right questions and by being strong enough and humble enough to admit, you know what, I'm not quite sure. Let's normalize saying that when in a pressure cooker. Instead of just ignoring it, writing it off, saying no, let's tackle it head on. Let's say, I'm not sure, when we literally are unsure. That would be bringing a better communication to everybody, I would think. And now that we're sure of Zoom, that it is linked to China, what are we going to do about it? Millions will still use it. The stocks will still rise. But maybe consider giving Text Me a chance. Text Me app, TEXTME is the app. I'm on there, just got on there a couple of days ago for backup purposes because my SIM card's not working. Maybe you should too. Text me. Literally, text me right now. 206-426-9884. Well, 9884. 206-426-9884. I would love to see my phone blowing up as you listen to this podcast. And maybe one day we'll take live calls using that number. Zoom, when I tried doing the live Zoom, by the way, it failed. It completely failed. By the way, I have a couple congratulations to give out. Firstly, to my buddy Warren Kelly. I gotta get him on. He was named Warren C. Kelly, Warren _C_ Kelly. He is the founder and director of Sports Performance. He says he's transforming ambition into reality. And I believe he won, if I'm not mistaken, a trainer award. I've got to check the messages here. Hang on one second. He won something pretty cool, actually. to be the best strength on Long Island. And he won it. He became that. And congratulations, Warren, on the winning. And I'm going to have you on to talk about it in Long Island at Direct Performance. Congrats, man. You were always determined back then, and now you're literally turning that ambition into reality in your own work as the founder and director of sports performance at East Coast Strength and Performance. Top strength and conditioning from Access Baseball. Very cool. Very cool. Gotta bring him on to talk about it. All right. To have the top strength and conditioning coach on Long Island from Access Baseball, that'd be pretty cool. And then one other guy this week that I want to give a shout out to. Chris Anderson. You've heard him here before. Zero to Hero podcast now has went from 0 podcasts to 100 episodes. Congratulations to you, Chris Anderson. And we'll keep going from there. And yesterday, I know it was Independent Women's Day. On that note, let me tell you a quick story. Did you hear what happened in Madison Square Garden this end of February, on February 28th? Women's professional hockey played the first ever game. And it's kind of cool because I got to talk with Gail Marquis and others of that first ever women's basketball game at the Garden in 1973 with Queens College and Immaculata. Gotta love it. At the Garden, you had the first women's hockey game. Professional Women's Hockey's Players Association held Game 2 of their secret Dream Gap toward New York Showcase at Madison Square Garden. New Hampshire region versus Minnesota region. And it was Brianne Decker who scored the first goal. And don't tell me women's sports isn't special. It is. It's exciting. The women that do this from college onward are determined, are gritty, and they deserve to keep Title IX. I will say that right now. They deserve Title IX to be recognized as a female, as an athlete, as a D1, D2, D3 athlete, and as a professional now. Remember, Sabrina Ionescu, when she was signed by the New York Liberty, massive shockwave sent through New York. Oh, look who we just drafted. Well, up in Westchester, she's doing great. So, let's honor women's sports in International Women's Month. I'm Alex Garrett. We will talk to you soon.